G'day Nathan, thanks for the comment. So if I had a spare 5k a week to invest, what would I do to build family wealth? Now, this is a very personal question. It largely depends on how much wealth you're trying to build, what's the timeline in which you are trying to build it, what the ultimate goals or aspirations are, what you're trying to achieve along the way, right? So there's multiple ways that we can go about this. But the building blocks of how you invest ultimately come down to three things. There are only three predictable ways to build wealth in this world. One is business. You build wealth by building value into a business. Second, you accumulate good quality property and use that money in order to use the bank's money to leverage your cash to get a higher cash on cash return in order to build a property portfolio. And thirdly, you invest in the share market. You buy fractions of publicly listed companies and you are able to reap the rewards of the investment that you make in those businesses. Now, do I have any bias towards any of those three? No. I believe that people should accumulate all three, but they should consider the pros and cons associated with each of those assets as they work towards their particular goals. So the prerequisite is that you need to understand what it is that you're trying to achieve. I've developed an exercise called the 20-year roadmap. If you want to grab it, just jump in the link in my bio. You get access to a whole heap of tools, that being one of them. And basically it allows us to get clear on all of our lifestyle and financial goals over 1, 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. Second, we want to get clear on the resources that we have available, right? So in this case, we've got 5k a week. And then thirdly, we want to understand the pros and cons of each asset class. So business, right? Business is risky, right? However, we can manufacture wealth because we can use our own skill set and we can use our own efforts in order to control a lot more of the factors, but there are also factors that are outside of our control, and businesses do get into trouble and go into liquidation or bankruptcy, right? So we need to be mindful of that. And a good business should get to a point where it can fuel and fund its own growth. So I'm going to assume that your business is sorted and this is surplus. So then the decision is, ultimately, do we buy property or do we invest in the share market? So the first thing that I would consider as part of our, what we call our core satellite strategy, is that we want to understand what is our maximum debt ceiling or our capacity to buy as much quality property as we possibly can, right? So do we have equity that we've got in other properties, or do we need to save up a deposit to buy more properties? Because the idea being that if we can take, say, a 10% deposit, let's say it's 100 grand, we buy $1 million property and that property goes up by 5%, that is a 50% cash on cash return. So this allows us to magnify our returns, but property is illiquid. And the aim of the property game is to get to a point whereby you don't need to put any more money into it, right? Because we can use equity that we've got in other properties in order to fund the rest of our portfolio, and then servicing becomes more of a problem. Video for another time. And then the third aspect is the share market. The great thing about the share market is that it's liquid. We can drip feed money into the market over time. So we can choose to put in 5 grand a week or 1 grand a week or whatever we choose to do, and it allows us to drip feed that money into the market to take advantage of the ups and downs in the market. We also have the ability to have more liquidity if we ever want to get money out, because with property, you can't sell the kitchen sink if you need to raise some money quickly, right? So once again, this is a question that requires personal advice. This is just some information that's going to get you started, get you thinking about how you go and create what we call your investment operating system. I cover this off in my book, so I give you all the philosophies and the tools to work this out for yourself. Or if you want help, this is what we do. So we help business owners create a financial freedom plan, get them really clear on what they're trying to achieve, and then we reverse engineer it backwards. We then help them work out how do they maximize their profit and their cash flow from their business, and then take that business profit and systematically turn that into personal wealth using what I've covered in this video. So if you want some help with that, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to have a conversation. Hope this is helpful.